If you're a contractor and you're wondering why your business feels like a complete dumpster fire, why you feel like a firefighter just putting out fires all the time, why you feel like you're the bottleneck, why you feel like you're stretched so thin, give me just the next couple of minutes and I'm going to break it down, some of the reasons why your business is probably like this, and then a few things to actually do to fix your business and help it run profitably and smoothly and not chaotic. Now, if you don't know who I am, I'm Liz Chisholm and I help contractors do just that. I literally help them go from being the chief bottleneck all the way to scaling their business with systems and processes so that they can get their time back and their profits up. So typically when contractors reach that $2 million mark, give or take a little bit, the chaos isn't because they can't get the jobs. Like they're usually booked out 3 to 6 months. It's not usually because their quality is low, because they actually get a lot of their business from repeat business and referrals, so their quality is really high. They're craftsmen, they do good work. The problem is the operations of the business. They don't have systems and processes. And if they do, the way they've gotten to that $2 million mark is because all the systems and processes are in their head. And trying to get them out for their crews or their subs or their employees to actually understand what's happening, something gets lost in the translation. And so what ends up happening is the owner, and if this is you, then it's describing you. You're juggling phone calls and text messages and trying to put out fires and trying to deal with all of this because everything is in your head and how you do things is not scaling. And so then what happens is you're stretched super thin. So when contractors come to me and they're in this position, they're like, where do I even start? What do I even do to get myself out of this bottleneck mess and to actually start scaling my business and start freeing up my time? And typically they haven't even looked at their profits in a while because they don't even have time to do any job costing. They have no idea if their estimates are even accurate. And so they really just flying blind all the time. What we do is we have to take a step back and we have to build a foundation for your operations. We can't just scale your business without actually putting in that foundation. It would be stupid to put on a second story addition on a foundation that's not sized for a second story addition. At some point in time, that foundation will be weakened because of the amount of weight for that second story addition and it will collapse. This is what happens when businesses try to scale. They try to work on get more lead sources. They try to get more jobs without fixing the structure first. You don't want to just put paint on a house that's falling apart. You don't want to just cover up your termite damage because, well, we're just going to pretend that there's no termites there. You have to fix the root of the problem first in order for you to scale without chaos. And so sometimes this looks like you're going slow, but in reality, what happens is when you fix that foundation, you can actually start building your profits. So one particular contractor, when he came to me, he was only doing about 4.5 million, give or take, and his profits were down to 4%. Now, let me help you understand what 4% means. 4% means that your cash in the bank is so little, you're probably not paying yourself very much. You're probably not able to grow and hire the people that you need to hire, and you're probably having cash flow issues. The average contractor in the US has about 6% profit. So this particular contractor was actually below the average, which means that he was stretched so thin because he couldn't hire, he couldn't go fix the problems, he couldn't pay for things to happen. So he had to do them all himself just so he could keep his business afloat. After just 11 months working together, we were able to build that foundation, and on the outside, it looks like his business didn't grow that much. He went from 4.5 to 5.5 million over 11 months. Okay, whoop-de-doo. We got another million in business. Great. But what most people don't understand is that his profits went from 4% to 12%. 12% of 5.5 million is over $600,000. This means that when he came to me, he had hardly any money in the bank account. And after 11 months of working together, he now has so much money in his bank account from net profit. This is not money that he's paying himself with. This is after everything has been paid for. He has 12% left over. So now he is working on making investments for his future, for his company. He's expanding. He's actually scaling. And this year, he said in 2026, he's probably going to get close to about 16% in net profit. That is absolutely crazy because we put the foundation in first. Now you're trying to figure out, okay, what is this foundation we're talking about? What is it that we need to do? Like if you were to stop this video and actually do these things, what are the things that you need to do? The very first thing is you need to start getting back your time by putting in a weekly cadence. The minimum that you need to do is review your numbers on a weekly basis, meet with your jobs, and your project managers on a weekly basis, and your project managers need to meet with your crews on a daily basis. Those are the minimums that have to happen. When you sit down and do a tiny bit of extra planning and you do a tiny bit of work where you're focused on your business for just a tiny little bit on a consistent basis, and you have that weekly rhythm where you are focusing on your job costing, focusing on your numbers, and focusing on what your jobs need and what information is in your head that you need to put on a piece of paper or put in a video for your crews to do and follow, that cadence right there, that weekly cadence, or for your job site crews, the daily cadence of what needs to happen today, what needs to be done by the end of the day, what is the goal for the day, how much labor have we used up before this job finishes, are we on track? All of those things doesn't take a lot of time, but is that discipline to put in that weekly cadence and that daily cadence to actually get things to move in the right direction. One of the easiest things that I like to do is called the 10-10 cadence. It's 10 minutes in the morning with your crews and 10 minutes in the afternoon with your crews. What did we need to do today? And then what did we get done? So it sets the pace for to the next day. When you do this on a consistent basis, I can guarantee you that your profits will go up. And if you protect that time like you're protecting your baby, you will actually improve your profits, and you'll start being able to see what else needs to be worked on in your business, so that way you have that clarity and that focus to be able to move forward. The next thing that you need to do is build what I call light SOPs. These are basic SOPs, or standard operating procedures, that are basically one sheet of paper or less, that your crews could scan really quickly and know exactly what they need to do. See, most SOPs are these complicated, multiple page, detailed, oriented SOPs where you're trying to get a kindergartner to be able to read it and understand how to do it and follow it. But that is not where our business is, especially with AI. There is no point in actually writing SOPs. You want something that's a quick and dirty, hey, this is what needs to happen, this is where we are, this is what's done. When the more simple you make your SOPs, the more basic you make your SOPs, the more anybody could just scan it, because frankly, are your crews really going to read a 10-page SOP? No, they are not. They are going to scan the first page and go, yep, I already know how to do this. I don't know why they're giving me SOPs. And then you're going to have wasted all of that time making SOPs. So you need to make these light SOPs. So if you have a job coming up, you're like, okay, this is the schedule for the job. This is when the job's starting. This is when the job's ending. This is what needs to go right in this job. All of that on one piece of paper, give it to your crews. And then instead of saying, here, follow this piece of paper because I'm trying to micromanage you, no, they're not even going to follow it. Actually, you want to take that piece of paper and say, hey, what do you think's wrong with this schedule or this plan in order to get this job done? When you start putting the responsibility on them and have them review it in the light of, oh, I actually could have a say in this. I could actually point out the things that are wrong with this plan because I got to follow it. So I might as well tell everybody what my opinions are on it. Now you actually have that collaboration and they will follow the SOP versus scanning a piece of paper, throwing it out the window and thinking, yeah, I'm not just going to do things the way I always do things because that's just the way I'm going to do things. And don't you tell me otherwise. And the third thing that you need to do is to hire a virtual assistant. I have helped every single one of my contractors that I work with hire a virtual assistant. I have training for them and everything, because when they can free themselves up from admin tasks, from data entry tasks, from emails, they can actually start spending the time making the light SOPs. They can start spending the time having the 10-10 cadence, having that weekly review on their finances, because they're not the ones chasing payments down. They're not the ones getting receipts and putting them into QuickBooks and putting them into JobTread or wherever you store your receipts. In fact, most people don't even store their receipts. And so then they don't even know how much money they've spent. And so when you have a virtual assistant that costs just a few dollars an hour, in fact, I have two of them, when you have that virtual assistant in place in your business, you can not spend all your profits because you're not hiring somebody stateside where they're going to charge you $28 an hour to just move some paperwork around. You're actually putting in the right systems and processes for that virtual assistant to get things off your to-do list. And then other things that your virtual assistant can do for you is posting to social media and sending out and mailing gifts to your clients and getting paperwork ready and actually writing up some of your SOPs, because you can then just do a voice note, send it to them and say, hey, write this up as an SOP. If they know how to use ChatGPT, all of my virtual assistants use ChatGPT on a regular basis, so they're very well versed in how to use it. They make SOPs all the time. And then we follow the protocol to actually implement them. And this is how you can free yourself up from the daily chaos and actually start scaling and pull yourself from the bottlenecks. So follow these three things. And if you do, I'd love to hear the feedback from you on how that actually went in your business. So once you do these three things, drop a comment below and I'll see you in another video.